God, I love coffee. If you're watching this on a replay, just fast forward a couple minutes and the stream, the conversation, the stream, the charts and everything will resume. I'm just waiting for people to come in right now over from TikTok. So just fast forward. If you're watching this on replay, just fast forward a couple minutes and it'll be right into the stream, right into the content. In the meantime, be sure to go to dailycryptobull.com and get the free DeFi PDF. If you don't know how to use DeFi, you are falling behind. There is not another day to spare. What's up, Antonio? What's up, Zigfredo Ortiz? That was quick. Yeah, I try to pop right over. Like I don't want to leave leg time. People are coming over from TikTok. And it's easiest if they're already subscribed to me because it'll like notify them, especially if you turn on notifications. As a matter of fact, be sure you turn on notifications. So, because eventually I'll just start live streams right here. I won't even do them on TikTok. I'll still do some, but I moved people over from TikTok right now from that live stream to over here to continue it. But I'll just be starting it from here, so you'll get notified if you turn on notifications. What's up, Baisley? What's up, Brian? Jordan? Cruise Skate? First time watching YouTube live in like 15 years. Dope. It's basically the same as TikTok. I mean, here we are, nothing different. Although, can you guys read that up there? Can you guys actually read that easily? It's not backwards or something? Let me know. Because I think over on TikTok, I have to like push buttons to flip it around for you. But I think over here, yeah, 5876 is, I don't know why it says that, because if you search for Daily Crypto Bull, it's the only one that comes up. Maybe I can change that somehow. You can see it easily. See, yeah, so for some reason, YouTube, I don't have to mess around. And this is the way I'm used to looking at the screen, like this angle and everything. It's weird when I have to do this flip thing, because I'm like, I can't even figure out where I'm pointing. But here, I'm good. I found it first try, no space, no caps. Good. TikTok sucks so bad now, and yes, okay, good. Yeah, I just, plus TikTok, it's constantly got a gun to its head, right? Like, it could be out of the US, and it keeps flagging crypto content, mine anyways. It has been for years. It has brought me to like this close to being banned, permanently banned so many times, and I've never done anything wrong. It's just their automated system flags words, it's constantly listening, and if I put certain words together in order, it just automatically flags it as fraud and scam. And there's like nothing I can do about it. So sometimes you hear me talk kind of funny, like I'll put a lot of ums and ers and blah, 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 do things just to mess up certain words, because some things I'm saying, I'm like, okay, I said the word casino. I feel like their system listens closer, so I gotta like mix it up a little bit, I don't know. Anyways, 34 of you on here. Thanks for being here. Let's start the stream. So this is where we left off over on TikTok. We were talking about how to compare one coin against another, right? Because when we look at like Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin, we're always comparing it against the dollar. Like when you say, how much is Bitcoin worth? How much is ETH worth? How much is Solana worth? What you're really saying is how many dollars does it take to buy a Sol in ETH, a Bitcoin? But what I'm doing here is we're looking at the concept of how many of this coin does it take to buy one of that coin? Like how many Solana does it take to buy one Ethereum? How many Ethereum does it take to buy one Solana? And this is how you can really compare their values and let you understand how to rotate between other coins, which ones are better values compared against each other. Extremely essential, extremely valuable. And I find that almost nobody is even familiar with this idea, let alone how to interpret it. So that's what we're gonna do here. All right, so right here, we're looking at the Sol ETH chart, right? In this case, how many Solana does it take to buy one Ethereum? Currently, it takes just over 23 Solana to buy one Ethereum, right? Solana's like $180 right now, ETH is like $4,200, right? So if you do that math, that's gonna be about 23 Solana equals one ETH. Now this chart here, let me zoom out a bit more. Let's go to the 5-day. So what you'll see, hell, let's go to the weekly. What you'll see is going back here to December of 2022, which was really the bottom of the what you would refer to as bear market. By the way, can you guys hit the like button? I'm not sure how to do it on YouTube lives. I think you might have to turn your phone sideways or swipe up or something. Hit the actual thumbs up like button. It'd be awesome if we get to like 10 likes. So over here, right back here, this was peak. This was peak ETH Solana, right? So at that point, it took 148 Solana to buy 1 Ethereum. At that time, Solana was literally like $8 to $10, and ETH was like 1,000. So it took at peak ETH versus Sol value, it took 148 Solana to buy 1 Ethereum, right? And if I go to a different chart over here, let's go to like the Solana chart. It's just Solana USD, right? So if we go back like that, you can see that was, let me zoom out. Let me zoom this up so it's easier to see. Right here is December. You can see Sol went all the way down to $8. Okay. And that's what we're looking at here. That's what happened in December. So this right here tells us Sol is an extremely better value than ETH. And then down here, ETH is a way better value than Solana, because see, it only takes 21 Solana to buy an ETH. So these are the zones to figure out which one's more valuable, right? Which one's a better value. And now you don't know how high this is going to go, right? So where's the zone, right? But we're coming up to a zone, we're hitting one right here. I'd say this is a more minor zone, right? You can see it was resistance, resistance, support, support, then resistance, and now it's coming up to resistance at about 24.5 Solana to buy 1 Ethereum, right? Right now we're at 23. But you can see it's pretty high off the low, which was back here in April. Only took 11 Solana to buy 1 ETH. Well, that's a pretty goddamn good value, right? But I have this yellow line here. Anything below here seems like a really good time to buy Ethereum. And then when you start getting above here, Sol's probably a better value, but how high could ETH go versus Solana? I don't know. What I do know is when it's down here, ETH is a better buy than Solana. In reality, they're probably both a good buy, but ETH was down here in April at like in the 1300s, and Sol went just under 100, making it only about 11.5 Solana to 1 ETH. So ETH was the better buy. And then clearly, you would have expected it to come at least back up to this yellow line, which would be about a 50% outperformance on Solana. And since then, it's gone up here to a peak of 23.69, okay? Massively outperforming Solana. See, Solana went from about $96 to $200 since April, right? So it did about a 2x. But ETH went from like 1380 to now 4,300, right? So ETH has done, what is that? About a 3x or so? Maybe a little more? So it's outperformed Solana by about 50%. Now, because of this downtrend, right, I overall expect Solana in the long term for a longer period to outperform Ethereum. But right now, clearly ETH is outperforming Solana. We don't know how long that's going to go for, because right now, as I was saying on the TikTok stream, we are in some kind of Ethereum season, not altcoin season, some kind of Ethereum season, right? So Ethereum and things on Ethereum seem to be outperforming the rest of the market as a whole. So right now, ETH is starting to look a little rich versus Solana, okay? I think it has a little further to go. I think it's going to get somewhere between 26 and 30, basically, right? And right now it's at 23. So I think that Ethereum, for the next couple weeks or so, is going to continue outperforming. But right now, what seems to be going on, you can see it start happening really as of last night, because as ETH has been chugging up, Bitcoin's really been sitting at about 116, 117, just sitting flat, like on a rock. But ETH's been chugging up. Now, as of last night, I saw Bitcoin go boom, boom, 118, 119. Whoa. So that tells me that Bitcoin's waking up a bit going, the fuck, Ethereum? Remember who daddy is. Money coming in. And ETH went down some. So I think we're going to keep seeing a bit of a battle here between ETH and Bitcoin, and I think ETH's going to keep having the edge for the next couple of weeks. I don't expect Bitcoin to make a new all-time high, but I can see Bitcoin going back into the 120s, and I can see Ethereum landing somewhere between like 45 and 4,700. That makes sense based on the kind of the range on a multitude of things, like where the charting is, but also where like short liquidation levels are, stuff like that. It seems that's where the probabilities lie, right? We never know, we don't have certainties, we work in probabilities. You all understand that? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if, hold on. Someone just said, this guy's gonna scam you. So I'd like to, like, remove him, because what a dick, why are you here? I'm sitting here talking about, yeah, I'll put him in timeout, I guess. So, like, why do people do that? Like, just go to a different channel. Why do you gotta go troll people? I'm sitting here sharing, anyways. This is exactly why, to knock people off there. Anyways. So that's what the probabilities lie to me, is I think Bitcoin's gonna get back into the 120s. I think ETH's gonna get somewhere between 45 to 47 over the next couple of weeks. And then I think we have some kind of cool off / correction. That's where my probabilities lie at the moment. Those things make the most sense. Is it definitely gonna happen that way? No. But we only work in probabilities. A lot of ones came in, you guys understand that. That's all we have to work in. Almost 10 likes. Hey, wow. If someone else could hit the thumbs up button one more time, that'll put us at 10 thumbs up. That'd be super awesome. When I say correction, like, don't let that scare you. Some days market go up, some days market go down. When they go down for extended periods, we call that a correction, because when things go up a lot, they need to come back. Like when Bitcoin went up in like early July, really, when it went up to the 120s, I started saying right away that based on the charts, it looked to me like Bitcoin is gonna come back to about 113. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but what happened? Bitcoin came back to about 112.5. So I was right there, and what has it done since then? It went up to 120. And now it's sitting at about 117, 118, I think almost 119 actually, right? So it's the way these things move, right? Because you think about it, the charts things go up because people buy it. Things go down because people sell it. People aren't gonna keep buying forever. It has to correct so that people can get a better entry and be more inclined to buy, right? As price comes down, there are more buyers. As price goes up, there are less buyers at some point. Same thing. And then when you get to the bottom, like a crash, well, that's when no one wants to buy or sell. And then really the funny saying is, the market's bottom when the last seller sells, right? Which is so true. New subscriber ahead, thank you. I tried hitting it twice, but that didn't work. Thanks, Brian. We're at 11, so that's awesome. That's awesome. So that's right now, when we look at this, it seems like I wouldn't necessarily mess with it right now, but this zone here to here, which is about 26 to 30 basically, seems to me that Solana value compared to ETH really starts to look better to buy Solana than ETH. I could draw, because you can see overall, right? We had a high, a low, a higher high, now a lower low. To me, this seems like a downtrend, but let me do something. If I can get a trend line going here. You know, it's not crazy to think that it could come up to like this line, say that's the end of the year. You know, if it came up to 54, which is about a double from here, if ETH went up twice as much as Solana by the end of the year, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't say it's the highest probability, but I wouldn't be like incredibly shocked. Because I have that trend line there. But this is bear market stuff here. In bull, I just don't expect that. Because in the bull market, ever since right here, right, which was May of 23, Solana, well, ever since here, ever since December of 22, Solana has been outperforming Ethereum, right? That's why this is going down, meaning it's costing less and less Solana to buy an Ethereum. Now, ETH is breaking above this trend line here, which I'll show you this trend line. I'll just try to draw it real quick so you can see it. All right, probably about right here. go over here, 30, but right there. You can kind of see this trend line right here, right? So it's kind of breaking above that, which is really interesting. I could move it a little bit like this, and maybe that's more of a good base case. But nonetheless, I think it's gonna have a little hard time. Plus we're coming through this moving average right here, this red line. I think this is quite an area of resistance here for Ethereum around 25.5, right? It's not far from here. So Solana looks like a decent buy compared to Ethereum. I think right now, I would probably rather buy Solana than ETH, but I don't really wanna buy either of them right now. I was buying in April, right? That's when it was clear, like, well, shit, you know, ETH is in the teens. Solana just breached under 100. Hyperliquid just breached under $10. Some really good meme coins are down 98%. It feels disgusting to buy at those times. It feels absolutely disgusting in the moment. Oh, so shitty. Plus, you know, I was buying before that, so I was buying on the way down. And here's a quick tip. When we do have a true correction, like a hard correction, make sure your biggest buys are at the bottom, right? Know your levels, and when you hit a level, make a buy, but it should probably be your smallest buy. And if it goes down further to your next level, make a bigger buy. And if it goes down to what you think is your final level, super deep value, that's where your biggest buy comes in. And you may be thinking, well, what if it doesn't come down to my super big level? Well, then that's just what it is. You'll get another bite at the apple. You just gotta be patient and realize it's not about any one move. You gotta be patient, right? People just, every time they get a paycheck, they put a certain percentage of it, just comes straight out into like their 401k and shit. And most of them don't even really check it. They don't sit there and obsess necessarily over, ooh, I gotta manage it, I gotta do this, I gotta buy this, I gotta blah, blah, blah. Some do, but most don't. And their whole plan is like, hey, you know, over the course of like 30, 35 years, this is just gonna go up and I'm gonna have a nice chunk of change to retire with. And I want you to think about it like that, except for we don't have to wait 30 years. But you can't say, well, I only wanna wait till this year. Like, no. In 2017, you could do that. Even in 2021, you could do that. But in 2025, to the maturity level of this version of the crypto market, it's just not very feasible. Now, can you get 2, 3, 5, even 10Xs? Yes. But the days of much more than that, you shouldn't be looking for them. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Now, I mean, with any significant portion of your portfolio, okay? Where you can still just buy Solana, you can buy ETH under its all-time high, Sol under its all-time high, you could just buy Bitcoin. I mean, quick question, everybody. The year's 2025 right now. In 2035, conservatively, where do you think Bitcoin price will be in 2035, 10 years from now? Drop in the comments. Conservatively, where do you think it'll be in 10 years from now? And I'll tell you what I think. World of Crypto says $1 mil. Chunchi says 250K. In 2035, 1.5 million. That is very conservative. 850K says Cruz. 500K says Paul. I'll tell you what I think in 2035. I think Bitcoin will be at $1 million by 2030. So I think it'll be more like 3 million by 2035. Maybe 5 million. Seriously. So, I mean, if you really think about it, for Bitcoin to hit, I don't know if you guys can stomach me pulling out a calculator and crunching some numbers, but, you know, let me pull out a calculator. Let me do it. This calculator won't work. It's too weak. Do I have a better calculator? Nonetheless, I'll put it this way. If Bitcoin just on, let me ask you this. Do you think it's fair that over the next 10 years, give me a 1 to 10, 10 being very likely, 1 being impossible, okay? 1 to 10, where would you say, 1 being impossible, 10 being very likely, where would you put it that Bitcoin averages 25% returns a year over the next 10 years? 25, just 25%. Tunchi says 8. So he thinks pretty likely that Bitcoin can pull off a yearly average of 25% gain. By the way, Bitcoin this year is up, well, from where it opened the year, up, well, from that to the high, you know, it's up almost 20% on the year. From its low to its high, it's up like 50, 60% from its like April low to its high last month. It's up like 50%. You know, because you don't just have to buy it at the beginning of the year and watch till the end of the year. Like you can buy it other times too, but I'm saying just to average of 25%. A lot of 8s and some 10s coming in. So I don't have a proper calculator in front of me, but I've done this math before. If Bitcoin just averages like 25% gain a year, it doesn't mean it has to go up every year. Just when you average it out, it averages going up 25% a year for the next 10 years. I think that puts Bitcoin somewhere around like 2 million. So I know that number seems big, but when you really break it down to what the path looks like, that's not a very hard path. Plus, you as an individual, right? When Bitcoin, since you know Bitcoin only goes up, like let me show you the lifetime Bitcoin chart again. Like Bitcoin, this is the lifetime chart of Bitcoin. For this chart goes back 16 years. It only goes up. It goes up, down, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now we're in a higher high phase. If you want to sit here and say, well, that's going to change, based on what, compadre? You're going to be the one that says, well, Bitcoin's topped forever and now it's going to go down? You going to be that guy? I'm not. 16-year, almost 17-year trend now? With no signs of changing? I bet this trend continues for a very long time. So you can buy when it has nice dips. So you can, if you just buy Bitcoin today and do nothing, what I'm saying is I think it's pretty damn plausible, I would say, almost guaranteed, that Bitcoin's going to average at least 25% a year over the next 10 years if you do nothing. But you don't have to do nothing because you can buy on significant corrections. You know what that does? That means you outperform the 25% return. So you don't even need to play with ETH. You don't even need to play with Solana. You don't need to play with meme coins. You don't need to do shit. If all you do is play the Bitcoin game, and you want to know what? That's what by far most of you should do. Like almost every one of you and everybody, in my opinion, should be playing that game, at least that game to some extent, where it's a whole nother game you just play. If you want to play in altcoins and stuff, that's a whole nother game. That's a much more short-term game. But the long-term Bitcoin game, like, let me show you something else. Who here would like to know, put a 1 in the chat, if you would like to know when Bitcoin is extremely undervalued and a screaming buy? Put a 1 in the chat. If you'd like to know when Bitcoin is a screaming buy and you just literally dump every fucking dollar you possibly can in it. I have a chart to show you that will show you exactly when to do that. Some of you have seen it before, but I bring it up all the time. And you want to know what? I never hear anyone else talk about this. And I just don't even understand why. Either they just don't know, they just don't know something. I doubt they're hiding it from you. I think they just don't really think about it. So put a 3 in the chat if you at least know of Bitcoin mining. Put a 3 if you understand at least that Bitcoin gets mined. Cruz got a 3, Tunchi. So just to be clear, Bitcoin mining, it's not digging in the ground, but it's computers digging in digital ground to work through stone, we'll say, which are math problems. And once it solves math problems, the rocks fall and they get to claim Bitcoin. That's how they mine it out of the network. But no, just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. Check it, go, got it. Okay? Now with that being said, mining costs money. It takes energy. It takes effort, right? Now it's electricity, it's computer power. That's the energy, that's the effort, okay? And with that being said, that costs money, right? You gotta use electricity, you gotta use energy, that's your energy, your electrical cost. So there's a chart that I have that shows how much energy cost on average it takes to mine 1 Bitcoin. And it goes all the way back to November of 2015, so it's almost 10 years old, this chart, this graphic, this chart. Let me ask you real quick, do you think the cost to mine a Bitcoin over the last 10 years has gone up, down, or sideways? Drop in the comments. Please don't jump ahead and try to be a smart person. Just follow along because it's for the whole group here. There are no cookies or rewards for being the I know person. Up, says Tunchi. Up, says Brian. Up, says DCW. If you find a way for cheap rent, see, up, there you go. Up, of course, let me show you. Look, so back in 2015, on this day, Monday, November 9th, 2015, the average cost, the blue line, the blue, to mine 1 Bitcoin was $225, and the average cost to just buy a Bitcoin was $378.95. Next thought. Should, which way should it be? Should it cost more to mine Bitcoin, or should it cost more to buy Bitcoin? Drop in the comments. Whichever one you think should cost more to do. To mine it or to buy it? Which one should cost more? Chunchi says more to buy. DCW says buy. Ayonder buy. Brian says buy. And he gives a bit of an explanation, which is the explanation. Of course it should. Because why would anyone mine Bitcoin if they can't sell it for more than it costs them to mine? Why would anyone mine gold if they can't sell it for more than it costs them to mine? Of course. Why would anyone make or do anything unless they can make at least somewhat of a profit from doing it? Right? They're not trying to spend money to do this thing that costs them money. Okay? So, obviously, in normal times, Bitcoin should cost more than it does to mine. Now, there's a degree. It shouldn't cost a crap load more to buy than it does to mine. And it should never be cheaper to buy than to mine. But what if sometimes there were periods that you can buy Bitcoin for less than it cost to mine? 1 out of 10, 1 being like terrible time to buy, 10 being amazing time to buy. 1 out of 10, if you can buy Bitcoin for less than it costs to mine, would that be 1 a terrible time to buy or 10 the best time to buy? Drop in the comments. See, Brian, don't try to think too much. There's not much to think about. I call that, many people call that mid-curving, which is what most people do, and I do it too. So Tunchi said 10, most other people aren't even Parka says 10. Please stand subject, everybody. This is important. Like Sujal, I don't know if you just came in, who regulates Forex market. Did you just tune in here right now? Come on. So, yes, it would be a great time. As you can see, the orange line is the price of Bitcoin. The blue line is the cost to mine Bitcoin. As you can see through this chart, the orange line is almost always above the blue line, but it is not always above the blue line. Let's go to November 2015. You know, right here, cost to buy a Bitcoin more than to mine it by a good chunk, right? Percentage-wise, almost 100% more to buy it. Now, still, it's only like, you know, a couple $100 profit. So as you make more dollar profit, the percentage it needs to be above the cost to mine goes down. I'll get into that another time. But as you can see, orange line above, see this right here? This orange, how it's spiked up here, and then shortly after that, the blue line spiked up. Who can tell me what happened here? If you don't know, just say, I don't know. But this is very important. This is very important to understand what this is. Bob, pay attention. I'm teaching something way more important than your Doge question. And no one can tell you, if you got to ask someone what to do, you're in danger. No Clue says cruise. Brian says halving. Trade says, I don't know. Yeah. So Brian's right. This blue spike here, this is the halving. And what the halving is that all of a sudden overnight, the amount of Bitcoin that can be mined per day gets cut in half, hence halving, right? So right now, we can mine 450 Bitcoin a day right now. After the next halving, miners will only be able to mine 225 Bitcoin a day. And the halving happens once about every 4 years, okay? Hence 4-year cycles. So what happens is you know when they're gonna happen, especially when you're coming up on them. And so what usually happens is people start buying Bitcoin in anticipation of the halving. That's why you see this gap up here in Bitcoin price, and then the halving lags and catches up. And then Bitcoin price comes back down into it, and they come back to equilibrium where Bitcoin is only a little bit. Actually, they're about dead even right there. But it's only a little bit above the cost to mine. We have a little spike up right here. And then from this point, April 2017, really altcoin season starts, right? That's a pretty good profit there for miners. And let me be clear, the cost to mine a Bitcoin, this is the energy cost. That does not include labor, maintenance, rent, taxes, the other expenses of these operations. This is just the energy cost. So the reality is it costs these miners more than this to mine a Bitcoin, but that's the energy cost, okay? But as you can see from here, from April 2017 to right here, December 2017, look at that. The Bitcoin mining cost goes from $720 in April of 2017, the mining cost, and goes up to $3,200. Wow. Look at the price of Bitcoin. Goes from $1,180 to almost $20,000. Look at that gap. The miners are making stupid profit. That cannot last. When you see Bitcoin price go too far above mining cost, that is a sell signal, because that is way out of equilibrium. That cannot sustain. Not speculation, not an opinion, fact, that cannot sustain. 2017 bull market peaked right there with Bitcoin being what, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6x higher than the cost to mine it. Let me find the peak again. There it is. About 6x higher to buy it than to mine it. That's way too big of a gap, way out of equilibrium. Boom, big time to sell. And what do? Head down, down, down into a bear market. Bitcoin comes here, finds a more equilibrium spot. Mining costs though, even though Bitcoin price is going way down, look at that. From here, Bitcoin price went from 19,000 in December to 6,000 in July. In just 6 short months, Bitcoin price went way down, but what happened to mining cost? Mining cost went from 3,200 to over 6,000. So Bitcoin price went down like 60%, but mining cost went up like double. Whoa, why? Because mining cost is a one-way road. It will forever cost more to mine a Bitcoin. It will forever and ever and ever continue to cost more to mine Bitcoin. And you want to know why that's beautiful? The more, if you know the cost to make something is only going to go up over time, what does that mean about the thing that you're making? Drop in the comments. Brian got it. Price goes up. If the cost to make something is going to forever go up, then the price of the thing is going to forever go up. The more you know. Okay, that was 2017. And then what happened here? $6,000, good price to buy Bitcoin? Fuck yeah, in hindsight. But then you know what happened? One more drop at the end of the year in 2018. Bitcoin went to the 3,000s. Look at that. What was the cost to mine at the end of the year? This is 1 year from, Bitcoin was $19,000 1 year before this in December of 2017. It was over $19,000. 1 year later, Bitcoin's at 3,400. And the cost to mine, right? The cost to mine back in December 2017 was 3,200. Today, at this point, it's 5,000. Yet the cost of Bitcoin went from 19,000 to 3,000. Look at that. You can buy Bitcoin significantly undervalued. You can buy it for less than the cost to mine it. And you know, the cost to mine only goes up over time. So at any point that you can buy Bitcoin for less than it costs to mine, you are getting a phenomenal value. Phenomenal value. But you know what? If you can't think about it logically and look at charts and be able to determine this type of stuff, do you know what it's like to be in those moments? Utter fear and panic. Utter fear and panic and disgust. That's what those moments look like. It's so scary and so disgusting that people are willing to sell their Bitcoin drastically underpriced for less than it costs to make it. That's the best value that ever exists, as long as the asset's quality. If you think Bitcoin's shit, then all this is irrelevant. But I'd also ask why you're here at all. So I doubt that's the case. So look, the point I'm trying to make here is that right here, Bitcoin price was above mining, and it took, right, this is November 2015, it took 3 years to get an opportunity to buy Bitcoin significantly below mining cost. 3 years. You had to wait. Granted, every time was a good time to buy Bitcoin other than when it starts gapping up like this. When it starts gapping up like this, don't buy it. But if it's close to mining cost, it's always a good time to buy. But if it ever goes below mining cost, that's when you literally shove everything you can possibly shove in, because it's so rare and it doesn't last very long. You had to wait 3 years for that opportunity. And it only lasted from November to March. You had 3 months. And then what happened? Boom, ran up. Then it came down. You had one little quick blip right here. What happened right here? You could actually buy, it's not showing the true, but Bitcoin at this moment actually got down to about 3,900 in March of 2020 because of the COVID dip. So you had a gift brought to you, right? But again, you had to wait 2 years, right? You had to wait 3 years for this buying opportunity, and then you had to wait 2 years for this buying opportunity. And then you shove. And then what happens? Boom. Then the halving happened. Out of COVID. Really weird. And then what happens? Bitcoin price gets way above the cost to mine. Worst time ever to buy, best time ever to sell if you're ever going to sell. Because you know it has to mean revert. It has to come back down to the line. Even though this blue line is increasing, you know this orange line is going to come down faster than that blue line comes up, right? And so then what happens? You wait right here. June of 22, Bitcoin cost goes below mining. Good value. And then it kind of goes back above, stays there until FTX. So you had a window here from mid-October to late December to buy Bitcoin for less than the cost to mine. And let me tell you about this period back here. Let me tell you about this little period back there in late 22. Let me tell you about it. I knew that this was the last time Bitcoin was going to be in the teens. Last time ever. And I knew everyone on the other side of this camera was shitting themselves. But trying to save face, trying to stay smart, trying to be cool. Ignore how absolutely they know nothing and they're shitting their pants. It's like I can smell it. It's an awful smell and they're pretending it's not even there. And you want to know what that smelled like? You want to know what that particular version of shitting their pants smelled like? Here's what it smelled like, because here's what they said. That let me know that they had absolutely shit their diapers. Bitcoin's at 16,000, by the way. I'm like, okay, how many people are buying Bitcoin? Everybody would go, it's good price, but I'm waiting for lower. Bitcoin went from 69,000 to 16. And these people who have been on my streams during the bear market are saying straight to me, I think it's gonna go lower. So I'm not buying yet. And I'm like, that is a poopy diaper, and this person's saying I didn't shit my pants. How do I help them admit they shit their pants? So here's what I did. I'd ask a series of questions, right? Because if you can ask a series of questions, people will reveal the contradictions and then have to figure out what the truth is. So I'd say, okay, it says 16,000. I mean, in reality, it could go lower. It's not off the table. As a matter of fact, I think it might. But that's irrelevant to me. Here's why. Let me ask all of you. Here's what I would ask them. I go, hey, okay. It's November, December 2022. I'd ask everybody. I go, okay, so you're not buying Bitcoin yet at 16,000 because you think it's going to go lower. Okay, because everyone wants to buy the bottom, everyone wants to sell the top, and they know you can't do that, but yet they always try to do it. And I say, okay, well, it's late 2022, November, December 2022. Let me ask all of you that are waiting to buy, which is all of you. Really, it smells like such shit, I want you to clean it up and change your diaper, but I can't get you to do it unless I get you to realize you shit your pants. So I'd say, okay, Bitcoin's at 16,000, it's November, December 22. I'd ask this every single stream. I go, okay, well, do you think there's gonna be another bull run? Every one of those people go, yes. I go, yeah, so do I. I go, and when do you think that bull run's gonna be? 2024, 2025, 24, 25, 24, 25. I go, I agree with you. I go, okay, conservatively, in this bull run that you think is definitely gonna happen in 24, 25, so 2 to 3 years from now, conservatively, what price do you think Bitcoin gets to? 90K, 100K, 120, 150, 100K, 180, 100. I go, okay. So it sounds like, here's what I'm getting. Bitcoin's now at 16,000. You think it might go lower, but you think in the next 2 to 3 years, Bitcoin's gonna get to at least $100,000. And you won't buy at 16 because you think it might go to 13. When Bitcoin goes to 100, do you think a phone call came in, so it always stops my stream. So Bitcoin's at 16,000. If it goes down to 13 or 10, do you think you're gonna care much if Bitcoin's gonna get to 100 in the next 2 to 3 years? Crickets. No one would put a fucking comment in. Because you know what they realized? They massively shit their diaper and they didn't want to admit it. They were so embarrassed. And I'll tell you what, most of them just kept that shitty diaper on. Out of stubbornness, out of fear, I don't know. I did that every stream. People heard me do that over and over and over. I would walk them through the logic. I go, you're probably never going to see it in the teens again, and you yourself say in 2 to 3 years, Bitcoin's going to be at 100K. And by the way, being in that time frame now, what happened? Exactly what they said was going to happen. Exactly what I agreed with them was going to happen. But I bought because I knew that I was not going to shit my pants. I had shit my pants in the past, and I knew what it was like, and I knew the regret. That's what I got. So I'll tell you what. In these times, when Bitcoin price is undermining, right? In this entire time period from November 2015 to November 22. So over the course of 7 years, you had 1, 2, 3 opportunities to buy. And here, this is where people shit their pants. They were so scared. Shit their pants. This is COVID, so scared. Shit their pants, 22 bear market. Shit them. And those are the best times to buy. And you can clearly see shit pants, shit pants, shit pants. Full diaper, full diaper, full diaper. That's all there is to it. So what I'm telling you is if you do nothing else other than you don't even got to play the altcoin game. You don't got to do anything. If you just think of a long term, and I say 10 years, I literally mean 10 years, maybe only 5. Seriously. But at most 10 years. If all you do is play the Bitcoin game and buy Bitcoin when it's near mining cost and buy stupid, ridiculously heavy when it's below mining cost, which is rare, by the way. See, good time to buy. Last year, from here, from about March to here, to September, you had another window to do it. And every damn day, I was showing people this. I'm saying, look, Bitcoin's in the 50s. Bitcoin's in the 50s. Bitcoin's in the 50s. It's below mining cost by about 10 to 20%. During a bull market, you couldn't ask for a better gift. And I'm looking at everybody last year in that whole time period doing this every single stream, going, listen, this is probably the last time you're going to see Bitcoin in the 50s. If there's another cyclical bear market, you're going to be praying for the 50s and it's never going to come. You're going to be praying for the 60s, it's not going to come. It might get to the 70s if you're super lucky. But right now, you can buy Bitcoin in the 50s below mining cost. I've explained all of them. What I just showed you, mining costs only go up. And Bitcoin very rarely, extremely rarely, goes below mining cost. Over that almost 10-year period, it went below mining cost 4 times. So it happens about once every 2.5 years. And what do people do? They shit their pants, and they won't admit they shit their pants because they don't know what shit smells like or something. So that was most of last year for me, trying to talk people into changing their diaper. And I'm not fucking with you when I say that being on this side of the camera is mostly talking to other adults to change their diaper. Do you know what that feels like? It sucks. I'd rather talk to people, adults, that don't wear diapers. I don't wear diapers. I used to. I haven't worn diapers in a while. Most of you are still wearing diapers, but you'd never admit it. So over the next 10 years, if all you do is buy Bitcoin when it's at least reasonably close to mining cost, and then buy ridiculously, utterly, disgustingly, irresponsibly heavy when it goes below mining cost, once every 2.5 years, you're gonna have millions of dollars in Bitcoin value. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. None of you are gonna listen to me. None of you. I just laid out a fucking rock solid, bulletproof, impossible fucking to fuck up plan. And almost none of you are gonna do it. That's because you're adults wearing diapers. I'm not here to rub your back and massage you and tell you you're pretty. I'm here to try to help you understand that you're like the rest of us and you're super stupid. I'm super stupid with moments of not stupidness. So are you. So is everybody. Do you have the emotional maturity to realize what I'm saying is absolutely fact? Probably not. You're gonna go asking for fucking XRP targets. You're gonna go listen to people talking about XRP's going to $10,000. Here's why. Well, here's why, because you can't do fucking math and neither do the people listening to you. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. That's the truth, Mr. Meaner. People want the lies. They say, tell me my farts smell good. Smell my farts. Tell me they smell good. That's what they want. And you got to realize you're no different. And if you can be a rare person that realizes that's where they tend to go, you can have a little bit of clarity, and no one has any clarity. If you can have a little bit, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Where can I find that chart? That's a good question. There. Take a screenshot. And also, go to that effing link. Do I seem like I know what I'm talking about, at least somewhat? I'm wrong about all kinds of shit, but some things I really know. Bitcoin mining, when the best times to buy are, I know it. Being in DeFi, you're a moron if you're not in DeFi. You're gonna wait forever till the opportunity is completely gone. Go over there and get that free guide. Go get it. dailycryptobull.com and read it and use it while it's still free. That's it. I have nothing else any more valuable than what I just shared with you. And you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna keep going out, looking for more value. Looking. I just gave you a bulletproof, nuclear proof plan. But it won't happen for you this year. It'll be 5 to 10 years. If you follow it, you will outperform 99.99999% of people on the planet. You'll make Warren Buffett feel like he'll be dead by then. He's a great man. I love him. I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great heart and character, which is why I like him so much. But he doesn't like Bitcoin because he's an old man. And it goes against his whole strategy. Crypto Gotti. You might be wearing a double diaper with that comment. I guess I don't know what you mean by Bitcoin goes quantum. If you're talking about quantum computing and hacking Bitcoin, tell you what, if quantum computers start doing that type of stuff, we have so many bigger problems. The world is fucking over. Because it'll be able to access nuclear bombs. None of this other stuff will matter.